Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Hello, Rob. Hello. It's so good to be back with you. Happy that Aiko was able to sit in on the show last week, but I missed you. I missed, getting that update of what was happening in your real estate life. So I'm looking forward to finding out. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so we got the stats out, and I'm telling you, this market, it's crazy. We're seeing a lot of agents are dropping out and taking full-time jobs back, where their career was before they became a realtor, and finding it's tough. It is a tough business right now. It's tough not only for buyers, it's tough for sellers. It's also tough for realtors out there right now. But we just got to muddle through it and just persevere, and things will change, and it will be good. But we do have the stats, and I was looking at some of the stats, and I'll tell you something. For someone that is actually looking at buying a house, in some areas, but some areas it's December and January, February. Those months are great buyer months. But the thing is, inventory is lower, but those are great months because markets kind of shift down a bit. No matter, even during good markets, like balanced good markets, they shift down. So you could literally buy a house in January, close on it in April, and probably built up 50 to 100,000 in equity, and depending on the price point that you're buying. So I'm looking at the numbers here. So let's start off with Fort Erie. Now, Fort Erie, in the month of May this year, they only did 56 transactions. They didn't, compared to last year, 76. So they're down 26% in units. But it's also the benchmark price is down 4%. So last year, the benchmark price was $699,450, and it's only $699,000. So I mean, it stayed stable. So it's hanging in there. Another area, Grimsby, benchmark price is down 3%. Lincoln, Niagara Falls went up 1%. So last year in May of 2024, Niagara Falls did 146 transactions. This year it's 103. And so it's down 29%. That's quite a bit. But the prices stayed pretty close to the same. It only went up 1%. And that's just probably because of less volume of sales. Now, Niagara Lake, I always say it's like a roller coaster up and down. It's just because there's too many high-end homes there, and it depends on the month. But February was the lowest point. And benchmark price was $820,000 in February. Now, for the month of May, it's $1.3 million. So they only sold 29 homes in Niagara Lake in May of this year. So I don't go by those numbers. Niagara Lake is. I'm just saying, telling you about Niagara Lake numbers, just for giggles, right? I don't because it's just you can't go by those numbers. St. Catharines. They actually are down 5% in benchmark price. Last year, it was $679,000. This year, it's $648,000. Not sure why. Sold pretty close to the same amount of homes. And then Welland, less homes. So pretty well in all markets, except for Port Colborne, all markets, unit sales were down. Welland, they're down 10% in unit sales, and they basically flatlined. $649,000 was the benchmark price in May of last year in Welland, and it's the same as this year. So, and then like Hamilton, let's say Hamilton, they're down 6% in benchmark price. Burlington down 5% in benchmark price. So it's like I said, I tell people that we had a better market last year than we did this year, and I feel that. It's hard to gauge, but the market will pick up. This is like I said probably before. This is a good time for buyers to get into the market, have breathing room, and to just go along and buy a house and just sit on it. Now, when you buy a house, you got to look at it to own it for at least 5 years. So you'll be in good shape if you buy now. And in 5 years, you're going to find that that house is going to be worth a lot more. And in 10 years, it could be worth double what you pay for it today.
Wow. Okay, let's dig into these numbers because I find this all very fascinating here, Rob. We'll go to Ancaster, and their sales were up 28%, but the prices actually dropped 23%. So, what does that tell us about the opportunities there for those who are looking to buy and sell?
So the opportunity there's great opportunity there, but that was May. But who knows? There's a delay there. There could be, and they actually sold more homes in Ancaster this year than they did last year, and it's hard to gauge which direction it's going. It's hard to find, but people are negotiating harder, and sellers are realizing they're not going to get the number that they thought they would get, and so that's why the benchmark price has gone down 23% from last year. Like Ancaster was 1,175,000. This year it's 905,000. So I'm not sure what caused that. Maybe there's less higher end homes that sold, but this eliminates all that too. So it's hard to gauge what the market's working in Ancaster.
All right, so let's do Hamilton now. So from December to May, the benchmark price there was just above 630,000. So does that mean it's a balanced market now?
Yes, it is a balanced market. Hamilton is just hovering. It's just moving along and just staying steady. Good time if you're looking at buying in Hamilton. East End is a good place for a first-time buyer. The West End gets a little expensive. The Hamilton Mountain's always a sure thing. You buy if you can find something there at a decent price. You got yourself a solid investment anywhere on the Hamilton Mountain, because that seems to be the go-to place. Usually, when people leave like Central Hamilton, East Hamilton, they go to the Hamilton Mountain. That seems to be the next move. But if you can skip that and go there first, you'll do well on your resale when you buy there.
All right. Continuing sort of around that area, Burlington, that's another market. Of course, the Golfi team is well versed in. Prices there peaked in March and then a little softer here in May. So what advice for homeowners there who are looking to time their sale?
Oh, I would time my sale. Burlington's a great market. If you're buying in Burlington, I would buy sometime in December, January, even a little bit in February. That is a great time to buy. You will get good deals there during that time. And I followed Burlington every December and January for many years. And if you saw that, you would notice that in Burlington, it seems to go for a nosedive in December and January, and then it just picks up in April, May. And so if you're you can actually literally buy a house in December in Burlington, close on it in April, and when you close on it, you could put it up for sale a week later and probably make $50,000 to $100,000 on that.
Wow.
That's how crazy the Burlington market is. And I could if I go back 5 years, you'll see that Burlington drops for some reason. I don't get it. I don't understand why. It just seems to go dormant, and the benchmark price drops during those 2 months.
Okay, well, let's get closer to home back here in Niagara. And Welland has been a market that I know you've been keeping a close eye on. Lots happening in Welland. It looks like their benchmark price stayed consistent all spring long. So what does that say for our investor or first-time buyers when it comes to confidence in Welland?
Yeah, Welland is a good little market. It's a good community. I wasn't a big fan at the beginning prior to COVID in Welland, because Welland it was a little bit of a struggle to sell a house there. Like, it took time. But now, people caught on to Welland because of the affordability. But because of the affordability, Welland has gone up in price. And so more people are moving there, and they're finding Welland is a nice little community. And right now, Welland is at $649,000 benchmark price. But like if you go back in December, another one, it was $565,000. So it's moving along, but again, it is flatlining. It's just floating along, and just until things catch up. Like our market, because we hit a high in our market with the sale prices of homes. We did have a drop. And during that drop, it stopped. It hit bottom, but it's kind of floating along there, and it's not going to go down anymore. But it's gonna stay stable the way it is right now. And the only reason it hasn't really jumped, because we did hit a peak. We did hit a peak where it's sitting at now, And now it's just people are sitting and waiting and waiting, waiting. Eventually they will buy. There's a lot of uncertainty because of Donald Trump's tariff situation. Otherwise, the market should have picked up a lot greater in the spring, but it hasn't. Let's see what happens in the summer, which I think will pick up.
Okay, so moving from Welland to St. Catharines, prices there are looking good, rebounding from 565 in December to 648 in May. So what's going on in St. Catharines to push that kind of growth?
St. Catharines doing very good. It's kind of like the like the capital of Niagara almost, and people move there, and great community, large city. There's always a lot of things happening. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of shopping, just a lot of everything, and people. It's funny though. The people that are born and raised in St. Catharines, they kind of stay there. And then the people from Toronto, they have a tendency going over the Skyway Bridge and migrating to Niagara Falls. It's just a weird way of how things are going. And the reason why they did that, because Niagara Falls was more affordable than St. Catharines, but Niagara Falls has equaled St. Catharines in benchmark price. So it's, you can go either city. There might be a difference of benchmark price of maybe $10,000 to $20,000. So you can go either way, and the values are very close to the same.
So there's a lot of expectation managing that you have to do as a realtor right now. So how do you work with your team to be able to handle those expectations? And I imagine a lot of folks still have their mind in those 2021 numbers, right? Oh. So how do you coach the team to work with that?
You know what? We go based on, I didn't realize how much I knew until I started putting stuff down, what I know. And I had one of the agents, I wrote a graph and put down what the market was going to happen in 2022. And she sends it to me. Like, she gave it to me. She goes, Rob, I kept this graph that you hand drew, and I kept it since 2022. She photocopied it and gave it to me. She goes, you predicted the spike in the beginning of 2022 and then the drop in the 2022 in the spring. You predicted that was going to happen, and it did. She goes, I've got it right here. She goes, so now it gives me goosebumps sometimes knowing that. And then also we have stats on the last 60 years of the market, and I also predicted how housing prices were going to go each year and percentage-wise and everything. Prior to COVID, I was pretty accurate. After COVID, it was a little tough, but I did predict that we had spikes and we were going to have drops. So it does, and you know what? And again, I'm not a major in any economic degree of any sort, but I work the market. I know the market. If somebody came to me and said, I've gone to people and said, listen, don't put your house up for sale right now. If you just wait another 30 days, boom, let's do it. I just had one. We told them they wanted to list it 2-3 months ago. I said, let's wait till the summer. We're putting that house up for sale this weekend. And we said, just wait, because in the $2 million mark, it's going to take a little time. So let's just bypass that and put it on the summer market, which I think will pick up, especially in Niagara.
Okay, so there it is. There's the experience, the Golfi team experience. That's the difference when you work with Rob and the REMAX Golfi team. We have a ton more questions for you, Rob, so we're excited you're going to be sticking around right here on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Stay with us. This is News Talk 610 CKTB.
Are you worried about selling your home on time and for the most money? Hi, I'm Rob Golfi. Every year we invest millions of dollars in our advanced marketing system, ensuring your home is seen by tens of thousands of potential buyers. We don't just hope it sells, we make it sell.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and our guest today is the one and only Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Rob, really digging into the stats today, and I'm loving this. It's giving us such great insight as to really what's happening in the real estate market, and things are sitting longer. It's really changed. So I want to know, what about staging and presentation? How does that right now give advantages to this market where, you don't have those multiple offers, you don't have that no conditions of a few years ago?
Staging and everything makes a huge difference. We do virtual and in staging. We have a warehouse of furniture. We just bought another staging company's furniture just this past week and added it to our inventory. We've got a lot of houses up for sale right now that are sitting. Some of them because it's the market, and some of them because it's overpriced. And but we're filling up a lot of houses with furniture. So I mean, I could open up my own furniture store right now, and I think I'd be in good business. But yeah, it's crazy. But if I had to bring everything in, I wouldn't be able to fit it in my warehouse, because the houses that we have staged out there are kind of like we bring it in and it goes right back out. Bring it in, goes back out. But I remember during COVID, we were bringing in all the furniture, and we had furniture stacked on top of each other. We didn't even have the room. We had to get another warehouse to put it in because usually we have somewhere between 30 and 40 homes staged at any given time. So that means I've got 40 homes like furnished. And which is a lot. And so when you bring all that in, then you don't have room in your warehouse, because basically people's homes are your warehouse. But staging is it is important. And we have consultations. Sometimes people have the furniture, they have the right stuff. We have our consultant that goes in and they'll give ideas, move this, move this. The one key thing is move plants, because when you photograph a room and it's got plants, they kind of take over. It kind of makes it cluttery. And nothing against the plants, but they just you just gotta clean it up a bit. Don't try to get rid of all the plants, because the green, when you photograph it, they seem to enhance for some reason. And it's better not to have plants in the pictures when you are showcasing your house online.
Wow, what an interesting little tip. And I know you mentioned the virtual staging. That's like basically using AI to stage a room?
Yeah, we have AI. We can, it's amazing how artificial intelligence, what they can do. We can take a room, say, can you please stage this room? And that's getting better as time is going on, the technology. But you can actually stage a house with virtual staging within minutes without, and usually a person that has to do it themselves, it could take maybe a half an hour to an hour for them just to do the virtual staging themselves. So it's amazing how technology has reduced time in getting things done, especially with the virtual staging.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. Okay, so those are, I imagine, some of the ways that you and your team help sellers stand out, because buyers have more inventory now. What are some other ways that you help the sellers stand out?
Oh, you know what? We the brand is also important. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we're competing against other agents, our brand says something. So, for instance, like if you're going to another country and you're basically want to go to a hamburger place, and you don't know these other hamburger places, but all of a sudden McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's happens to be in that mix of hamburgers on that street, you're going to say, okay, let's just go to Wendy's or something like that. And because we know Wendy's or we know McDonald's and we know what we're getting. And that's what happens. And people will have a tendency to go to places where they know. And so we feel that, and we know people come to us and people look at our listings and they see the credibility that the Golfi team has. And so when they look at our listings, it's easy to find. When they're driving by, they don't have to stop and try to get a number down. They just know it's a Golfi listing. They just Google us and we're easily to be found. And that makes a difference. All these little things that we have that most other realtors and teams don't have makes a difference in exposure when we're putting your house up for sale and people will see it. There's a lot of things. We've we're very strong on social media. We are strong online. We've had people buy houses that weren't looking for a house, like specialty houses, sometimes farm properties that have a lot of land. I'm not saying they're farms, but beautiful houses on large land, and they just happen to have some farm on it. Waterfront properties, just specialty properties, escarpment properties. People always say, hey, if anything like that comes up, great. But if they're not looking on MLS, they're never going to see it and they'll miss it. But because we have one of the largest circulated real estate magazines in Canada, that goes like a million readers read it. It goes to over like close to 400,000 homes in their mailbox. They will see that house that is for sale that they always, dreamt of. If anything like that came up, will show up. Now, they're not actively looking, but if the right property came up, we have the exposure to bring it to the forefront, to bring it to the people, to the public, and they may see it. We had one lady bought a marina property that overlooked the marina from Mississauga, and she didn't even, this was in Stony Creek. She didn't even know where Stony Creek was, but she saw this online that we were marketing, and she loved it. So she came and saw it, and she bought it. Now, she wasn't even looking for a house, but she always wanted something like that on the marine. There's boats and everything like that. So those are the things that we do that really help our sellers get that extra exposure. Yeah, there's so many agents out there. There's 100,000 realtors in Ontario.
Wow.
About 38 to 40% of them don't even sell a house. So you got to be careful. Make sure you get an experienced realtor that knows what's going on, because it will make the biggest difference of your life. And I get it. Everybody has a relative or a friend that's a realtor, but are you doing what's good for them or what's good for you? This is the biggest investment that people have in their life. So you got to make sure whoever's managing it, you got to have it managed by the right person.
Wow, that's some big stats there. I know something else we've talked about a lot on here, of course, is interest rates. And we just had an interest rate announcement this week, no change from the Bank of Canada. And so we'll find out what happens again in, 7 or 8 weeks, whenever it is that they come out again. So where are we at with the effect of the interest rates in the real estate market? Are people still holding off right now? Are they sort of, used to the new state of where interest rates are?
Yeah, so the where interest rates are now, that is it's a good interest rate where it's at now. They're holding off because of I guess the Bank of Canada with the bonds and everything else like that. But what they're at now, it is good. It's pretty low comparable, but not as low as it was for COVID, and that's and that's what everybody got used to. It's like you spoil somebody, and now they refer to that all the time. It's just like, people saw house prices go up to like $1 million in 2021 and partially of 2022. Now everybody wants $1 million for their house, even though now they're not worth $1 million, maybe 850,000. So we all get spoiled on the good stuff, but we never get spoiled on the bad stuff. But the interest rates to where they are now, people are still holding off, still waiting, checking to see what's going to happen. Because housing is expensive. The ones that are buying know they have secure jobs and they're moving forward. They got a partner that they know they can afford the house combined together. The ones that are sitting on the fence are the ones that are not sure about their jobs just yet, and they just want to make sure that they don't get involved into a mortgage and then they can't afford to keep it, especially if they lose their job. So we've got a lot of people just sitting, waiting, and see what's going to happen, especially with this tariff situation. So I mean, look at the steel industry. They're going to get they're getting hurt really bad because of the steel right now. Is this going to get blown away and it's all over and we'll be back on track? I do think that will happen. It's like China. I mean, they stopped the tariffs on China because the United States loves Christmas. So if they put huge tariffs in China, all Americans, where are they going to get all their Christmas ornaments and all that kind of stuff? So that stuff's got to be dealt with now. The orders are made now. It gets probably shipped out in September, and so that they have it on the shelves for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So you know what I mean. So you see a lot of changes. Like every week there's changes happening with the U.S. government and what they're adding or subtracting and tariffs and stuff like that. So we just got to go through that and deal with it. So guess what? they're allowing Christmas stuff to come to Canada. Come to the USA so that the Americans can have their Christmas. And so it's hard to tell what Donald Trump's going to be doing.
Yeah, it's a pretty fluid situation. So yeah, time will tell, and I guess we'll all kind of settle into it at some point. Okay, Rob, you were talking about your prognostication skills. You're like the Wyerton Willie of of the real estate market. And so let's look ahead now. Any areas, markets that you're really optimistic about growth over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I do feel Niagara is a good one. I do feel Niagara Falls, St. Catharines. Welland is good, but those are the two markets that if I was looking at buying, it'd be those two markets. Hamilton is a good one because there's still opportunities there where you can buy. Now, as a homeowner, you're buying to move in by yourself, or you're with family, or with your kids, or your partner. Those are great markets to go into. But no matter where you buy, in a busy municipality along the Queen Elizabeth Way, right to Toronto, all the way through Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph area, Barrie, Ontario, all those areas, no matter where you buy, housing prices are going to go up. Now, if you bought at a higher price point, say, listen, you buy at a $1.3, $1.4 million house, can that be worth over $2 million in the next 5 years? Absolutely. You buy at a $500,000 house, that could be worth probably about $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 in the next 5 years. Absolutely. As long as you're buying anywhere along the Queen Elizabeth Way corridor, I think you will do well regardless. It's just real estate in Canada has been better than any other country in the world pretty well. That's why a lot of investors were coming this way, and that's why the government had to slow them down, because it was hard for the people that were living here, working here, and born here. Were having a hard time competing against wealthy people from other countries that were buying real estate, and they were pushing the market up. And they've done that, but some of them are still coming this way and buying. So every city like Vancouver, Toronto, like Vancouver, Ontario, now Quebec, people are going to Quebec, buying in Montreal. So they have to slow that market down to make sure that the people that are born and raised in Montreal can afford to buy those houses, and they're not competing against foreign buyers.
Right. Okay. Well, it's good to hear that you're so optimistic still about this area. And is that because of the lack of supply?
No. Well, to buy in the area, yes, that, and there is a good supply right now, and the migration of people coming towards this area is going to be greater and greater. You're going to start seeing companies moving out this way. And look at it. They're already, they're going to expand the Skyway Bridge. They're going to expand the Queen Elizabeth Way so that traffic can come through more. You're gonna find more and more people are moving towards the St. Catharines, Niagara, Welland area, and now Fort Erie, Stevensville, that's becoming more popular. Chippewa, look how big Chippewa has grown to. I remember riding my bike there to go to soccer practices in Chippewa. There was not many people live there, but now it's expanded. A lot of developers have built nice subdivisions there, and it's everywhere. It's just growing in Niagara, everywhere.
Staying on top of the real estate trends with Rob Golfi, and this is the Golfi Real Estate Show. We've got more to come. Stick around here on News Talk 610 CKTB.
I know the importance of hiring the best agents.
I'll take a photo of your house and post it on the World Wide Web.
Next,
our multi-million-dollar marketing system reaches tens of thousands of potential home buyers every day.
Go to robgolfi.com and put the best team to work for you.
And welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. Rob Golfi is with us today, really digging deep into some of the local stats, into what Rob is seeing for the future. Things looking good for the Falls and St. Catharines and Welland too. Lots of growth in the real estate market in the Niagara region. So definitely a time to get in. Let's look to, I guess, a more of a global view here, or national view, I should say. And unfortunately, it looks like more Canadians are missing their mortgage payments, Rob.
Oh yeah, it's not looking good. It is tough. People have accumulated debt, and the hard thing is, some people can afford the remortgage, and and they blend the current mortgage rate versus the mortgage rate that they have. But there is it is tough out there, we're finding. And but the thing is, they have to go to the banks and talk to their mortgage specialist and try to figure a way that they can keep their house and not lose it. And we're finding, and I'll tell you, this has actually happened a week and a half ago. A guy calls me up. He had his house listed. He had an offer on his house, and the lawyer that handles that for the bank did not want to take it. Now, I don't know, but lawyers make a lot of money when the bank gives a power of sale to the legal office, a law office. The law office will give that listing to an agent, and that law office will take a referral fee for it. It could be up to 25 to 35%. So they are hoping, they love that because they're making a lot of money. On top of that, they are getting money. They're getting paid by the banks to take and handle that. So the lawyers are making a lot of money. So what happened was this guy left, and he got the notices and everything. He got scared, moved out, but he did get an offer not with us. He had it listed with somebody else, and he wouldn't take the lawyer wouldn't take the deal. And he says there's not enough money there, but he could have taken the deal, and he didn't. And now they're not going to get what they got. They got an offer. They got a $500,000 offer, and the bank and the lawyer said, "No, we're not going to take that." He actually could have taken that, and that's sometimes the things I don't like about this business is because that lawyer was only thinking about himself, because now once he takes full power of sale of it, he gets to hand it to somebody, and he's going to make money on that. So let's say the house is worth $500,000. Somebody lists it, let's say 4%. That's that's $20,000. He's on the one end. He's going to make probably $2,500 to $3,500 just handing it to a lawyer. That's it. Just here you go. And then he's going to be billing the banks for it. So that guy kind of got screwed around, and I told him, I said, listen, he was under his listing expired. I said, listen, if you called me probably a month and a half earlier, I said, I could have helped you, but I said, you're so deep into it. And he goes, I could have saved myself from losing this house. And I know. And I said, you know what? And the agent that he had did send letters to the lawyer, but I think he should have been a little bit more aggressive with the lawyer and threaten him and saying, listen, I'm going to go to the newspapers and say, you are only looking after yourself. You're not looking after this guy that's worked hard to put a down payment on this house when he bought this house years ago. And it's sad. There's so many sad stories about that. But listen, if you are behind on your mortgage payment, go to your bank and make a deal. Try to work something out. Don't lose that house, because if you lose that house, that means you got to start all over again to save money and try to buy another house. And by that time you save the money, the houses are going to be more expensive. So you can work it out. Just go there and work it out. There's so many different ideas. Now, sometimes you got to go to a mortgage broker. Don't go to a bank, because mortgage brokers, they're a little bit more creative. They got a little bit more experience. You go to a bank mortgage specialist in the bank. If they're new and young, they're not going to know how to do it. So be careful on who you talk to. Talk to somebody with experience. So don't lose your house. Keep it, because in the long run, you're going to be so thankful that you didn't let it go, because I'll tell you, once you lose that home ownership, it's hard to get it back. And even though there might not be that much equity, don't worry, but you own the house. It will go up. House prices do double every 10 years. So if you own a $500,000 house today, it will be worth $1 million. You'll have $500,000 in equity that you probably would not be able to get if you end up going and renting for the next 5 to 10 years. So try to hang on there. Try to talk to people that can help you. They'll give you ideas how to keep your house, even if you're in 1 or 2 months behind. Work the deal. Don't just let the letters come and ignore them, and now you give up. Don't give up. You can make this happen.
Some great advice there, Rob. And I know, looking ahead here, you've got those renewing here in who bought in 2020, and then into that 2021, that banner year. So, there are going to be a lot of folks who might not, feel like they're going to be able to afford, and they might be looking at selling. So let's say they're renewing in the next 6 to 12 months. What advice do you have? Should they start working on that now?
Yeah, just start shopping around. You can get a better interest rate. Don't go to the bank that you're with now. Just say, listen, I'm shopping around. What's your best rate right now? What's your best rate? Because I'm shopping. You may not get my business back. Now, some people may have a bad credit and they may not be able to. So you have to be careful there. So you got to go to the other bank and say, listen, my credit's not that great. Can I transfer my mortgage over it? And it's probably CMHC insured. So they'll say, yeah, you can, as long as it's dollar for dollar. But maybe it's hard. Like if you can increase the amortization just to keep your payments down and whatever. But I know some people, they renewed their mortgage. Their mortgage payment is like $500 more a month, or $600, $700. It's tough. You got to come up with that money now, and you're barely scraping by with what they were before. But there's ways to find out. There's ways for you to keep that house and not lose it. But yeah.
Okay,
Shop
so
around.
that's some good advice there. And then we did sort of, and talk about the interest rates and who knows what that's going to do in the next little while. So just having that conversation with that mortgage professional, a great way to do it. So let's go to those homeowners that bought in 2021. Are you seeing people trying to sell because of those unaffordability reasons?
Yeah, we're seeing that. And the thing is, they can't sell. We just had a guy, he's got a property that he bought in 2022, the peak, like February, March of 2022. And he bought probably the most expensive house in the neighborhood at that time. It was a big house. And then he puts in another 200 to 300,000 in renovation. So now he's in, I think, for 1.5 million. Now his house is only worth maybe 1.2, maybe 1.3 if you're pushing it, but 1, 2.5. So we basically said, we can't help you, unless you're willing to take a drop. He's already had it listed at 1.5 and nothing's happened. 0 showings and everything. And I went in and because one of the agents on my team, and he wanted to know the truth, and sometimes they can't handle the truth, and so he doesn't know what to do now. He's either going to take a loss or just keep it for another 5 years, and then he'll be able to get it back. And a lot of people are in that situation. We've seen people lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on selling their house because they bought in a peak time, and some of them had no choice, and some of them can afford to lose it, but a lot of people can't. So and the thing is, they either have to stay, or sometimes some of them are walking away from the house, which is sad, because they did get caught up buying in a market where it just was ridiculous. But it will catch up. It'll catch up eventually, and it's becoming close to it soon.
Wow, that's, it's interesting, Rob, because you never kind of know when it's a peak time, I guess. Maybe you felt that way, but people tried at that time. They maybe were trying for a year and a half to actually find a property that they could buy. And so what a bummer to have that elation of finally getting this property, and then to be here, 5 years later going, I don't know if I can hold on. If they can, though, presumably, like you always say, it will be worth more in the next 5 years.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes you can rent out, a partial basement or something like that. That'll help you pay for the mortgage. A lot of people have finished basements in their houses, and they have a bathroom down there. And all you need to do is just get a counter, just put a microwave or a tabletop oven, those little ovens, put a refrigerator. Somebody will rent that, and it could help you out. I knew somebody that there was a single person, and they were struggling, and they rented out a couple of rooms in their house, and bedrooms. I mean, they had a lock on theirs, but they rented it out. They vetted them out, make sure they were good people, you know, and that'll help for a while. And I'll tell you, a lot of immigrants in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they did that. They came here and they didn't even know the language. And a lot of people that were here already, they would rent out a room in their house to the new immigrant just to get started, and eventually they get their own place. But you can make money. Like if you go online, you go on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, you'll see how many people are renting out their rooms, renting out their basement, just renting out a bedroom for $800 to $1,000 a month. You know, that's not bad money income coming in to help pay for your mortgage and your taxes and everything else that you need to keep going on that house.
All right. So I'm still kind of flabbergasted by a stat that you dropped a little earlier in the show, Rob, which was like that there are 100,000 real estate agents in Ontario, and maybe like 60% of them actually are selling the homes. So I want to just talk about like the full-time agents, because like you said, like everyone knows somebody that does it, but there's a lot of people that sort of do it, I guess, on the side. So what are the disadvantages of that, going with a realtor who's not always in this?
You know what? You got to be careful because their fingers are not on the pulse all the time. There's a lot of realtors out there, they have part-time jobs. You know, you can't do this job part-time. It's either full-time or nothing. And there is a lot of people doing it part-time. You got to be careful because if their focus is on their job and they're just doing this part-time, if something's going on in the marketplace or something like an offer they're negotiating and they're working and trying to negotiate, they're not 100% focused into it. So you got to be very careful with that. And there's a lot of that's happening. And the sad thing is, I think in Vancouver you have to be a full-time agent. You can't be a part-time agent, and they can tell that by when you're filing your income tax. The other things are like marketing. I mean, we do way more marketing than any agents. A lot of agents out there, you got to be careful. They'll come in, they'll put your house up for sale, and they'll put it on MLS, and that's it. Well, guess what? You might as well. There's private for sale companies that you can go there and do the same thing. And why go with that person and pay him to do it? You might as well just save money and just have somebody else put on MLS for you and do it for next to nothing. You're not going to get the showings. You're not going to get the expertise, everything that goes behind the scenes that like teams do, like we do, or other good agents out there do. So be careful when you're picking your agent, because it's always good to interview them. Make sure they're hands on. You do get better results. I'm telling you, the results speak for themselves. Our average list sale ratio is better than the average than the real estate board. Now, because of that, I mean, like you get somebody that that is not really paying attention. They just put it on the market and not doing their job right. Like we get a lot of realtors from Toronto. They're coming and listing houses in the Hamilton, Niagara area. So it's an hour drive. Guess what? And I always tell people, call that realtor. Have your friend call that realtor, say you want to see that house. You know what they do? Just say, call local realtor. Great. Is that what you want your realtor to do? And people, I can't believe they're satisfied with that. And because that realtor that listed it knows the house better than anybody else. He's your salesperson. That's his job, is to sell your house. Because he's lazy to drive down the Queen Elizabeth Way, he's basically brushing it off and waiting for the offer to come in and then collect his money.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider there. So do you hire, if someone comes to you and says, oh, I want to be with the Golfi team, I'm going to do this part-time, would you say no?
We don't hire part-time people. No.
Okay.
That's not us. It's all full-time or nothing.
I love it. It's great. Well, Rob, as always, I learned so much from you on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And make sure you reach out to the #1 real estate team in Canada, the Golfi team, at 905-641-0308, 905-641-0308. They're online too, robgolfi.com. That's robgolfi.com. Thanks for listening. This has been the Golfi Real Estate Show on your News Talk 610 CKTV.